All right, today we are talking about how to get more clients from YouTube, how to get more exposure, how to grow your brand. My guest today is Tom Breeze. He's the founder of Viewability. He's an expert on how to get more exposure, more views, more clients through YouTube. I'll tell you more about him in a second, so stay tuned.
Welcome to the Smart Business Revolution podcast, where we feature top entrepreneurs, business leaders, and thought leaders and ask them how they built key relationships to get where they are today. Now, let's get started with the show.
All right, welcome everyone. John Corcoran here. I'm the host of this show. You know, you've listened to these episodes before, but if you haven't, go check out some of our past archives. We've got interviews with smart CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs from companies like Netflix and Kinko's and YPO, EO Activation, Blizzard. We got all kinds of great episodes in the archives. Check them out. And of course, this episode brought to you by Rise25, where we help B2B businesses get clients, referrals, and strategic partnerships with done-for-you podcasts and content marketing. And you can go learn more about what we do at rise25.com. And I'm excited today to talk to my guest. His name is Tom Breeze. He's the founder and CEO of Viewability. He's also got a software company all around how to get more exposure and more views and more brand recognition through YouTube, which is the number 2 platform out there for searches. It gets incredible amount of traffic every day. And so if you aren't taking advantage of it, then you definitely want to watch this whole video and get some of his cutting edge strategies on how to do it here. And Tom, I'm excited to have you here today. We're going to jump into the YouTube topic. But first, before we get into that, now you started, like many entrepreneurs do, with a little website called eBay. And the funny part about that is you ended up buying a kind of heavy item and shipping it through eBay. That was gym equipment, which is some of the heaviest equipment out there. So you discovered quickly that drop shipping items through eBay led to some really high mailing costs. So tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, I suppose I was trying to break it into the world of entrepreneurial kind of success, I suppose. And it was when I first got started, I must have been about 15 or something. And it was like the birth of the internet, really, more than anything else. I was like, wow, there's so many cool things happening. It's like the first moment where people are starting to realize the power of the internet, and eBay users were going there and uploading stuff. And I was like, hang on a second. If I'm to buy this gym equipment from eBay and then sell it to these customers, or vice versa, buy it wholesale and sell it on eBay, there's a deal to be made here. And there's some margin in between this. And I was like, this looks great. And the shipping, yeah, not too much of a problem. But then of course, then I worked out that okay, cool. If I have to ship this gym equipment, it's going to get really expensive. And so it wasn't necessarily the most successful venture in the world, but that's kind of where I got started. And then I'll go on to do different things like,
you did something called car boot sales, which is not really something we have in the United States here, but it's kind of like a yard sale. You take a car, load it up with all your junk from your house and your friends' family stuff, and then you come to somewhere where everyone opens up their trunk and they sell stuff.
It'll literally be a field in a countryside somewhere, but it'll be a field that be advertised for about 6 weeks. There's a car boot sale happening here on this date.
Okay.
And you can buy your ticket to have your car there. But loads of people pick up bargains because there's so many antiques in the UK. There's so many random things that are 300 years old, and it's like a silver spoon or something used by some royalty or something. I don't know. And if you know what you're looking for, you can pick up some amazing wins. So they were actually quite well attended. And if you've got a car full of junk, it's great because you can just sell all the crap that you were going to throw away anyway for small amounts of cash. But I would go there and be like, right, okay, cool. Let's see what I can flog. My parents would have to agree to what I can go sell, and then we'd split the profits. And I started doing it a lot more with different people that I knew, family members and this type of stuff. And they couldn't be bothered to drive the car and go and sell all this stuff. And I could. That was quite fun for me.
Your parents walking around the house going, what happened to the end table that was over here? What happened to the TV? Exactly, where's the couch?
And I'm walking around with a wad of cash in my pocket. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mom, I'm learning about entrepreneurship.
It's about minimalism, guys.
Right.
Come on, keep up. So that was kind of my journey, and I started to kind of make a little bit of pocket money, and then I started a poker online. That I'd not necessarily recommend that to everybody, but in the early days, you could learn how to play poker online pretty quick, and there would be terrible players playing for money online.
And so you could,
And so it was just, you could rake it in. If
Yeah.
you were just like, if you played like a robot, and the easiest way to do that is to have like 5 tables live at any one time, so you don't get emotionally invested into any hand in particular. You'd end up really knowing how to gamble with your cards effectively, especially online, because it's just, there's no human interaction. And,
but you had to have a lot of money to start with that. Did you have a lot of, was there a lot of money coming in and out? Like, how much money did you have on the line at any one time?
Oh, these would be $5, $10 tables to start with. So it wouldn't be huge. I might start with a little bit. And what I worked out is that if I did it by myself, I would be erratic. So I ended up sharing an account with my dad. And so we both gamble from the same account. But then
Like
you could look at
father,
the
like
history of
son?
the tables. Yeah.
Good.
And you'd be like,
Okay.
wait a second, you made a silly mistake over here. Like you can, if I went all in for no good reason or something, then I knew that I was going to have my dad saying to me, what on earth are you doing wasting all this money? And so we ended up having a bit more of accountability to each other inside of one account together.
Some good lessons
we made
in
a lot
that,
of money.
right? There's some good lessons in that, right? Having that extra accountability can be really valuable.
Totally. And also it was fun as well. You sat there with each other and played, and we'd have to make these decisions together, and you both risk it sometimes. You'll both play it too conservative sometimes, and then have like different disagreements on how to play the next hand and that sort of thing. So it was like we'd spend hours just in front of this computer screen, but we made pretty good money and had a lot of fun doing it.
And you actually ended up funding a lot of your university through these poker winnings.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. We paid for a few Christmases, and we paid for most of my tuition through university, through poker. But bear in mind, like, I think in the UK at that time, it was about £3,000, which is about $4,500 per year for your tuition. So it wasn't like a huge cost. Very different story these days. And also I know in the States, you guys pay a fortune for your education. So it's a slightly different kettle of fish, I think. But it's very much a kind of, it was an easy, it was still making a lot of money, and having a lot of fun doing it. So I'm not going to sniff up at that.
Now, after you graduate, you were interested in being a sports psychologist. You discovered, though, that would require you to travel, go live in smaller markets, things like that. Kind of the same situation in the States. If you want to work in something like sports, you end up living in some smaller town or having to be flexible in terms of where you're living, which you didn't want to leave London. That kind of led you into helping people with performance anxiety and public speaking. And I'm imagining you as like some 23-year-old giving a CEO of a company public speaking advice, which is kind of an interesting dynamic. What was that like for you?
It was funny. I was like, I've got a far more gray hair now than I once did, but I even remember being like, oh, I wish I had a few more gray hairs. Then it would make me look a bit more legit for this job.
Yeah.
So I was about 24, 25 when I first started that business. And it quite quickly got me into a one-to-one room with some really quite influential people. Well, not like necessarily famous people, but definitely people that are making big decisions on behalf of corporate companies. Or giving a pitch or closing lots of high-end deals. And the number of people that come to see me for a really big meeting would be kind of really interesting. But you got to bear in mind, they knew their stuff really well, but they knew that they weren't going to be able to deliver it very well. They knew that, like, okay, cool, I know how to talk about this. And they may even be able to have the structure of a great presentation, but they would stand in front of people and their voice would go all shaky. They would feel really fearful. And loads of people call in sick and let their team take up the slack for that day. Loads of that sort of activity. So it's quite a chronic anxiety that people would feel. And my job was basically to get them in the room, make them feel comfortable and present. And so I used to do these like 4-hour sessions with them. And I was trained up in hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, NLP, and using a set of combination of techniques. It was pretty much the same thing for everybody. But everyone kind of has the same worries when it comes to presenting, just packaged up as different things, and so you can unpick that quite quickly, give them enough confidence to be able to be like, okay, cool, I think I can do this. And it's a very self-fulfilling prophecy when you go and present it and you get through the first 2 minutes and then you're like, oh, okay, that actually worked out quite well. And then you get questions, you can handle them, and you can see people in the audience nodding and things. My job is done by getting them in the room most of the time, because they'll be like, Crawl, just stick to the script and they'll be okay. And most people do. It's all about like 95% of people would get to that point where they wouldn't call in sick. They would go to the thing and it'll be a roaring success, as we know it would be. But they always attributed all that success back to me, and I'm like, great, I'll take it. But really, I just got you to step inside the room and feel a bit more confident than you felt like the week before it, so to speak. So
now, with this background, I was kind of thinking that your trajectory, your path would be from public speaking to then, creating videos because it's more efficient. But you actually ended up running Google Ads to grow that business, which led you into helping, kind of focusing on Google Ads, which then led you to SEO and led you into YouTube advertising as well. Tell me a little bit about what the early days of Google Ads was like for you, and why you ended up going away from it eventually.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So I was kind of connecting the dots really more than anything else. So I had this business and I wasn't getting any clients, and it was really early on in the business formation. And I was like, how do I get clients? And I called around family and said, well, how do you do it? And luckily I came from an entrepreneurial family. My dad runs an accountancy firm, and my brother runs a recruitment firm. And I was like, how do you guys get business? How do you do it? But they would have a recurring model. So like they would have, they close one bit of business, then that client, if you do a good job, will be a client for life.
Right.
And likewise,
not 1 4-hour gig and then they go away.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you make them feel confident. They're like, thanks, that's all I needed you for. I'm off, so to speak. And so I was like constantly on the hunt for new clients, and didn't have any continuity program at that point. But I was like, right, can I just get someone in the room? That'd be great. And because my business had been newly formed, I would get like flyers and offers. And one of the things that came through the door where I lived, and I lived in like a flat with friends and my wife, I had like this thing come through the door for Google AdWords. I didn't even know what that was back in the day because I'd used Yahoo. So Google wasn't really even a thing. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll check it out. And because I got like a £75 free credit, I think it was. There's a certain amount of money that you could spend on them to try and get the campaigns working, basically. And so I went online, watched a few of their videos. They recommended here's how to set things up, and it was like really basic. It was only search that was available at that point, and it would say like, have a think about what your customers type in, and then put those keywords into this box here. And I was like, okay, cool, that seems pretty easy enough. And I put them in, and I said, and what do you want your ad to say? And I'd be like, this. And so I just type it in, and then at that point, I would then press go, and I'll say, here's my daily budget and here's how much I'm willing to spend. And I was like, cool, let's see what happens. And it wasn't my money, so I was spending it, and it was all kind of going out of Google's back pocket. But bear in mind, I'd tried loads of things up until this point. I tried kind of some PR and got no success with it whatsoever, but got into some quite big publications. I tried Yellow Pages, didn't really get anything working. And I was like struggling to get customers. And I did set up this Google ad. That same day, I had 2 people call me because I literally just put my telephone number in the ad as well as on my website. They literally called my mobile phone. I picked up and we had a chat for about 20 minutes. And I turned both of them into new clients for about £500 each, because I do like a 4-hour session. So I'd sell it as a one-time session. And so I made like £1,000 off the back of about £30 spend in a day. I was like,
wow,
what?
You must have been like, okay.
I was like, oh my God, I've literally unlocked a part of the universe that no one knows about. And the same thing happened the next day. And I just booked out my diary for ages in advance. And I was doing all this one-to-one work, and it was very lucrative, very profitable. But I just didn't have that much business sense to feel like, oh, there's other people that can do what I can do, or there's people that can do a better job of the sales, or there's better people that can book in the diary. And so I kind of learned all that stuff as I went, but still did a really bad job of it. So that was my kind of, I got good at Google Ads. That was like my thing to make my business successful. And then running a one-to-one business is actually really difficult, especially when you're providing a service to a consumer rather than a business, because as soon as you hit, in the UK at least, as soon as you hit a certain amount of income, you have to then start charging tax on top to the person you're selling the services to. So let's say, for example, my fees to you might be like £500, let's say. If I have to put tax on top of that, that might be now you have to pay £600 and I'd only get 500, but the government would take £100 of that. And you get to this threshold where you're like, cool, you find out where the people are maxing out, where they're willing to pay.
Yeah.
And then you realize that actually, hang on a second, I'm giving 20% of that immediately to the government. And if it was a business, they could claim that back. But as a kind of individual user, it was more difficult. So there's like barriers as you go that make it very difficult, because that's just 20% of your top line gone. Do you know what I mean? You don't get it back. So there's little things like that were frustrating running a business. So I thought the best way to do this, to figure this out, would be to do more group sessions. And it's selling group sessions to people that are already fearful of public speaking is a really hard sell. That's like saying, the one thing you don't like doing is getting in front of groups. I've got that perfectly for you. It's a really hard gig.
Right, you're all going to share how much you hate being here in a room together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You're all together in the same boat.
Right,
you all hate it.
You're all miserable. I'm going to make you all miserable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up selling a few of them. And we do these weekend workshops, and they were really good. People loved them and got really confident, because they would basically say, well, I've got a presentation on Tuesday. On Saturday and Sunday, I'm getting together with a bunch of different people. I'm going to practice my gig, and it's going to be the friendliest crowd. I was going to get over myself. And then come Tuesday, they had so much more confidence, and they used to love it. But getting them there was hard.
Yeah.
But at the end of the way that I sold it was I would build up my list of people that wanted to do work with me. So I'd do Google Ads to opt in. And then that list of customers or prospects, I would sell, a lot of them would sell one-to-one. But then I'd say, hey, look, you can all come to a weekend workshop. And I'd sell that by sending out a video to the whole of my list. And the video was pretty new. No one was really leveraging video. So I felt
were you putting it up onto YouTube at that point?
Yeah, I put it up onto YouTube. YouTube was a new thing, but I had also like accounts at something called Vidler, which is now not available any longer. I'm quite happy about that, because I've got so much crap video out there that's just gone now. It's disappeared somewhere. I'm like, oh, thank God. Yeah, I'll put it on Vimeo, put it in lots of different places, because I just wanted it to be a neat looking video.
Yeah. In mid 2000s or so, there were a lot of competitors. YouTube wasn't the only video platform out there. There were a lot.
Totally. Yeah. Exactly. So you'd have lots of different places you could upload, like Daily Motion was another one, like loads of different platforms. And so I'll put them up on these platforms, and then send it out to my list, and then they would buy straight off the page. And so then I was like, right, cool, I'm kind of doing email marketing as well as getting people to these workshops. But then on this workshop I did, it was a weekend workshop, and it was mainly geared around business. So it was like saying you're going to give a business pitch or presentation. And so a lot of business owners turned up to it. And at the lunch of the first day, a few of them came up to me independently and said, how did you do that video thing on your website, by the way? That looks really cool. Can I do that? And they were like, hey, after this, next week, can I pay you to come and show me how you set that up? Because I'd love to do videos like you do and send it out to my list. I was like, sure, no problem. And so it became like, I thought the sale was going to be like, here's how to speak on video and get really eloquent and communicate effectively. And what I realized, that I was saying, well, why don't I just film it? I know I've got a few editing skills. I'll just give you the video back afterwards. So I'll perfect I'll be like almost like your little director. Yeah. And then I'd edit it. And then the client would say, cool, yeah, go for it. And I'd
kind of like morphing into like a video production company at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was like director, film, like videographer, and then editor. And then I'd give them back the video. But the beauty was that I managed to say to them, look, have it back, and then pay me out of the results you get. So I'd say if it's closing a workshop or something, just give me 10% of sales or something along those lines by using that video. And that was a really lucrative process, because I'll do the video production for free as long as they it would work for them, so to speak. So I started getting into more performance-based relationships with people.
And were you worried that they would be honest and would report back when they made a sale?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I got burnt quite a few times, but it was worth the burning, so to speak. Like you would get one client that would be like close, it would be like an 80-20 thing. And the good clients would close a lot and be happy to pay for it. And I keep on doing more and more video with them. You know, they're like, this video
New
thing works really
videos.
well. No one else is really offering it. Let's just do another one.
Yeah.
But they would see such an uptick. They're like, cool, this just makes sense to do. But I would invest my time and energy into them. So I was like, okay, cool. Say it like this. Don't say it like that. Say it like this. They couldn't get that anywhere else. So it was really.
So you're not doing any YouTube ads at this point, but eventually it morphs into YouTube ads, or the ad platform becomes more robust.
Yeah, well, exactly. So we ended up doing these videos would be like content driven. We'll put them up on YouTube. And then I partnered with a business partner, and they were an expert at SEO. And so they would take the videos and then get them ranked all over Google and YouTube and do all the backlinking and all that sort of keyword structure and everything like that. And then would it almost be like, hey, look, I'll create the video. My business partner will rank them for you and you'll get a ton more business. And we did that for about 18 months, worked really well. And I was like, oh my word, I've cracked Google ads. And that was becoming a little bit more challenging. It's getting a lot more competitive. And then SEO was a new route. And I was like, oh my word, this is working really, really well. And then the SEO started making some changes. So Google started making lots of updates to their platform, and lots of websites would just disappear overnight because of it. And same thing happened to our videos. And so I was struggling because we had all these clients at this point. I'd sold them in and like, hey, we'll create the videos, we'll upload them, we'll get them ranked for you, working really well. And they charged them a monthly fee. And then the SEO world just like turned on its head really, really quickly. And basically the business was gone and our clients were leaving. And so I had these videos that were really good.
What happened there? So what happened that you said the world turned on its head? What happened?
Oh, so Google made like a series of changes to how the algorithms work with their SEO results. So they had this like penguin, hummingbird, and panda updates, I think they were called.
Which a lot of people got affected by,
hugely, like massively. And businesses would be like really, they go from like big kind of really big companies to very small companies on the digital world, you know. So everyone was scrambling. It was like a crazy time. And I was like, looked at it, I was like, do I try and master SEO and go deeper, or do I go back to what I know, which is Google ads and a really reliable way of just driving traffic? But now I had these video assets from clients. And I was like, okay, I think there's something here. So out of pure, my business partner we ended up parting ways, and they carried on in the SEO world. And I was like, cool, I've got these clients. I've created their videos, and I personally put some money behind it. And I said, hey, look, I'm going to try out some ads for you. Let me know how they go. So I put my own spend behind these videos. And one of our clients said, okay, cool, I'll pay you the equivalent of £10 a lead, which is about like $15 a lead at the time. And I was like, okay, cool. And I ran their traffic, checked in on the numbers. They were doing really well. I look back now and realized they got a great deal with me, because I think they were making about £150 per lead, and they're paying me like £10 almost.
And you're paying for the ad spend yourself?
So I paid for the ad spend, but then it will cost me about £3 to acquire the lead. So I would spend £3,
arbitrage,
give me £10, and then they'd make £150. And I was like, this is a great deal. This works really well. Everyone was really happy, and I scaled that up like crazy. And that's really how I got into YouTube ads. And then I had all these clients that did exactly the same sort of deal, performance-based. I'll spend the money, they pay me for results. And we scaled up like mad across like numerous different niches and industries. So that was really my growth journey into YouTube advertising. And 10 years later, we run for lots of different household names and that type of stuff. So the business model doesn't always flow in exactly the same way. Like with corporate clients, they're not going to be like, I'll give you a percentage of profits or something like that. Quite so easally.
But you still do offer a pay performance model for some of your clients, I believe. And I want to ask you, why have you stuck with that model? Because a lot of businesses, maybe will start off with something like that when they're unproven, when they're just starting out. And then eventually they say, my time's worth money, pay me thousands of dollars. So why have you stuck to that?
Because it's always worked out better for me, financially, and also as a relationship builder with clients. So and also from a marketing standpoint, it's a talking point, where it differentiates you quite
Yeah, for
heavily.
sure.
So,
yeah, especially in this world that you're in. Yeah.
yeah, totally. Yeah. So I see like business being like four big departments. One is like the vision and where you're headed and keeping an eye on the horizon and where you're going towards. Like that's the CEO stroke founder integrator kind of role. Let's head in this direction, so to speak. Like that's questioning, should we even do YouTube ads or not? So those sorts of questions you probably shouldn't question too often, but it's kind of like you're heading in this direction. And then you've got 3 departments underneath. You've got sales and marketing, operations, and finance, right? So those are the ways I look at it. And I'm like, how can I make these as easy as possible just to keep on running? The hardest one I've always found is operations. Like, how do you keep on top of things? How do you deliver great products? How do you wow your clients constantly? It's the meat and potatoes of the business. Like that's the kind of the thing that makes it all work is the operations. That's where a lot of the complication comes in, but like especially it doesn't sound like advertising because the landscape's constantly changing. So I'm like, cool, I'm going to spend my time on that to get our product so damn good that clients love us. And if you've got that and it's working really well and you perfect it, normally finances take care of themselves. Like, that you're doing a good job and you're going to get paid anyway. But I look at the sales and marketing and I'm like, what's the easiest way of making that work? Like, what's the simplest way of getting loads of referrals, like all your ads work, everything's just simple. And what I've always found is it's the offer. And if your offer is so good on the front end, then, and as long as it's structured in the right way to complement once you are getting a successful client, I make it as easy as possible. Like we've got a deal at the moment, which is like $1 to get started with us as an agency client, so to speak. You've got to qualify and that type of thing, but it costs you $1. Most of our prospects laugh at that. They're like, "Wait, what? Did you say $1?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's $1 to get started." And so
that's like for like a vitamin supplement or something, or like some kind of smoothie supplement or something.
Exactly, yeah. And we do so much work for $1 because I know that then our monthly fee kicks in. This is one strategy we run for clients, our monthly fees, and they're going to be really happy. Like 90% of the clients that do that thing, as long as they qualify, will get really good results. I'm like, I don't want to be spending time doing proposals and meetings. That's where all the time goes. And then you've got to do marketing of like pitching it and sharing with people how great it is. Like if it's $1, people are like, sure, let's do it. And it speaks for itself, So I try and make the sales and marketing as easy as possible and then deliver such good results. The finances are like, people are like, yeah, I'll pay for this forever. And you're like, cool. Well, let's actually talk about that. And how would this work? And so it gives us the perfect opportunity to just focus our time and energy on do the thing right. Not to say that we always get it right. I'm just saying that like that's how I find it easy. And so performance basis is we might lose like 30% of the time. Let's say we spend a load of money on a client doesn't work out and we can't make it work profitably, or for whatever reason, it doesn't figure itself out. But I'm like, the 70% of it way outweighs the loss of 30%, because it's a loss for a month probably, or 2 months tops. But like 70% will last for years and years and years. I'm like, cool, I'll happily take that front end loss because I don't have to do sales and marketing with performance based.
Yeah.
And we make a lot more money on the back end.
Are there particular industries that you found or just you avoid entirely because they just repeatedly haven't worked?
Yeah, there's certain things that don't work for that model. E-commerce is hard. Margins are a lot tighter. Yeah. Inventory swings.
If you're selling a $5 widget, that's difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard, that one. But the high ticket educational community product software works really well. Like that, those sorts of industry. And it also has to be like naturally YouTubeable. What I mean by that is like people are going to YouTube and looking for information on this already, or they're looking for solutions to a problem that you can fix on YouTube already. Like if someone's looking up like heavy machinery, you can do a brand play on YouTube for sure. But like if you're selling tractors, well, tractors actually might work. But the idea being like, I don't know many people are going to YouTube looking for that sort of content. Like what's the best tractor to buy compared to a high-end fitness product or a here's how to build my business product or those sorts of things. So service-based businesses and product-based businesses and software-based businesses can all work really well as long as it's relatively high value per customer.
Got it. So You've been in the YouTube world for a long time now. This is going to be a bit of a broad question now, but in terms of the content of videos today, let's narrow it and just talk about videos that you're using for the purpose of an ad. What sorts of strategies are you seeing working today as we record this in mid 2023?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'd say the one thing that I always recommend people to do is to do a video that supports organic and ads. And there's two types of ads that it can support as well. So there's one type of ad that is it's a really good strategy. So I would say like aim for about 7 minutes. That's recently changed. I used to say go for longer than that, but Google are just about to announce that 8-minute videos are going to be penalized. So anything less than 8 minutes is probably going to be like the optimal length. Create like an 8-minute video, put as much content and value that you can together in that video. Like give a proper demonstration, a proper education, and give insights to people, give value to people that people think like, this is really good. Like think like, I don't know, I give presentations from stage and I say something and I see loads of people writing that bit down. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's what you like, is it? Great. Yeah. Or if I get loads of comments, or if I even go on like Reddit and type in something, I can see what people really want to know about. Those types of things can be really useful. And you're like, cool, I'm going to create a video that really answers that question that I know people are already looking like for information about. But I'm not going to like tease it. I'm going to give it all 100%, give as much as you can in that video. And when you do, that's the kind of the video you create. 8 minutes in length, maybe a 1 minute, let's say 7 minutes in length, of which 1 minute of that might be a call to action. Saying, hey, look, if you like this stuff, here's what I've got for you. And so you'd lead people into that kind of the next stage where they'd be booking a call with you.
And that would be at the end of the 7-minute video that you're making that call to action, or somewhere in the middle?
Yeah, you can do it in the middle, but I tend to aim purely for the end. I'm like, oh, it comes across to your customer, so your user as like, oh, and by the way, if you are interested in taking, so it's almost like an after the fact call to action, so to speak. It's kind of like, hey, if you are interested in taking the next step, here's what you need to go next. Because what we're doing is for that period of time, you're getting to people to know, like, and trust you, but also around about the 5-minute mark, people are starting to consider, I wonder if this person's got any products or services. They're thinking that naturally without you even having to do anything. But if you start showcasing like a case study of one of your clients, or you're kind of subtly seeding that anyway, so you can do things where you can still provide value, but use a case study or a story or a like showcase a community that you have built or something along those lines. So you can like subtly sell the fact that you do have products. It's not going to be an alien concept to them at the end of the video. They're like, wait a second, you're a business? It's like that's
right.
It's not going to be a
right.
You can like make that a little bit obvious as you go through the content, but 7 minutes in length, and just provide as much value as possible. We have a whole framework for it called Educate, and that kind of gives people a bit more of a breakdown of how to kind of put one of those videos together. And then what you do from having that video, then the actual strategy I'd recommend from YouTube would be to use something called an in-feed video ad. So this is an ad where your video with its thumbnail and its title will appear at the top of the search results on YouTube, or if they're watching a video, it might appear on the right-hand side. And it's very subtle. You don't really see the fact that it is an ad, but you're just promoting it and you're seeing that the ad will show to the user if they've typed in certain keywords that you've chosen, or words around that theme of content as well. And you can spend like $5 a day, $10 a day on those sorts of videos and get really good results. I'm talking like we've seen it like 10x return on ad spend. Because the way you optimize is you say, right, here's my video. It's going to be shown to all the people in this location of this demographic when they type in these keywords. So you can really pinpoint your audience. Your video thumbnail only shows those people. And then the people that click play, in your stats and your analytics of your ad account, you can see how long people watch the video for. So you can say, like, okay, so if it's 7 minutes and you have 60% of your audience still watching after 50% of the way through the video, you know that, like, cool, this content is good. The keyword I've chosen is good. And there's a lot of people watching a lot of content with a call to action at the end of it. And that works really well And that will work both well as an in-feed video ad and then also an in-stream, which is the ones which interrupt people on YouTube all the time. And you have to wait for the 5 seconds to skip the ad button. That's also a really effective way of advertising on YouTube, but I probably recommend get started with the in-feed. If you're a content creator or if you've got good value and insight to share, that's going to be a great strategy for you to put together and make it work really well.
Right. And now this strategy doesn't require people to be constantly creating content, right? Because I know a number of people that have built bigger YouTube channels, and one of the things that they're kind of petrified by is if they've been putting out content regularly, is if they stop. I've heard stories of, content creators on YouTube that they lose their ranking, their exposure, and then all of a sudden subsequent videos, when they start up again, don't get the same visibility that the previous ones did.
Yeah, you got to be careful organically. But I mean, if you stop like producing video on your organic channel, then yeah, you'll start to lose the rankings, or that you lose those views and the exposure. But that's not to say that it's over. It's just more a case of like you just have to do a bit more work to bring it back to life again, so to speak.
Right.
But from an advertising perspective, if you create this video, you can have it organic, and then you can put ad spend behind it, and you'll grow that YouTube channel faster than anything you've ever done. It'll grow it so much quicker because you're paying for the exposure. But if you're making it work profitably for you, you get the best of both worlds. You get that paid media to help you grow really quickly and get you customers. But then you're also going to have this like earned media, which is where people are starting to watch your videos just naturally, organically. That's not costing you anything. And you've got that owned media whereby you've started to generate a load of subscribers and a community there. So every time you release a new video, it's getting in front of more people that know, like, and trust you. And you're going to get that growth from your channel that way as well. So there's a lot of benefits to running the ads other than just customer acquisition. You can run the ads and start gaining a lot more brand on YouTube and being seen as that expert in your field as well. So it can really help you grow really quickly.
Now, I want to ask you about this. Your focus has evolved, and you've actually created a software. It's called X-Ray, or the X-Ray, which actually looks at your YouTube channel, downloads your data, and then gives you some actionable advice. Tell us about how that works.
Yeah, exactly. So the way that the software works is that you connect your accounts. As you say, it's the xray.io. You can go there and it'll take you through to a page where you can connect your YouTube channel to that software. You just need to authorize it. So it asks you just to say, hey, cool, are you all right to connect this? It's just very basic information it brings from your channel. But what it will do is it will pull down for every single video, all the retention stats, the subscriber stats, the comment stats, everything you would want to see that your YouTube analytics really doesn't give you. It can give you kind of insight behind each video independently, but then you want to be like, well, I've released 100 videos or I've released 50 videos. Like, which one's my best one? And so we always found it was really difficult to work out which videos do the trick. And which videos don't. And it's like, well, I got more views for this video, but that doesn't tell you it's a good video for business. It's just, it's great. It's got a bit more exposure than the rest of the videos, but it's not the full picture of what you want as a business. You really want retention as a business. You want to say, if they start watching this video, they'll watch 6, 7, 8 minutes of this content because it's so good. But you can't get that stat. You can't get those numbers from your YouTube analytics very easily. So we built this tool. It downloads all your videos. It will show you exactly which videos get the highest level of retention, but it also does something really useful. So it'll look at every single video, find the best 5-minute sections of every video, and then it'll give it a score based on the number of people there and how long they were watching for and some other factors as well. You can then rank all of your videos for the best 5 minutes. And then that 5-minute part gets transcribed, summarized, put into new scripts. And so you can immediately be like, cool, I know that now I can create a much better video because it's going to take the best bits, show me how to improve it. And so now I can do a 7-minute video that would be based on what people love already, but following a new framework. And I can then release that video and put some spend behind it. And that's what the software does. It really analyzes your videos and tells you what to do next to just really create much better content that's promotion worthy to then allow you to grow much faster.
That sounds amazing, Tom. We'll be sure to link to that in the show notes. Tom, this has been great. I know you have to go, so we'll wrap things up. Where can people go to learn more about you and Viewability and X-Ray software?
Yeah, so the best place to go is to viewability.co.uk, Well, actually, you can go to viewability.co as well. I forget that we have that as well. But we have clients all over the globe. So we have clients in Australia through to America, Europe, everywhere. And so, yeah, just because we're a UK company, we'd actually work with people globally. And if you want to go, like, that's for the agency side, as well as some of our consulting. And then if you wanted to go and figure out how to look at your channel and look at the stats around that as well, go to the xray.io. Currently, it's completely free. So you can go and download it, get all that data and understand how to optimize your videos as well. We'll probably be doing a paid service around that in due course, just we add more features to it. But yeah, people can go do that at the xray.io. And yeah, there's the two places to go.
Excellent, Tom. Thanks so much.
Cheers, John.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Business Revolution podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.